You've probably caught your dog tilting their head at you like you just barked in perfect canine, right? Which begs the question, do our dogs think we're just big, awkwardly hairless dogs? Or do they know we're something completely different? Today, we're diving into that adorable mystery. And trust me, the truth is even cuter than you think. Now, if you've ever played tug of war with your pup or rolled around on the floor during playtime, you might have noticed they treat you just like they treat other dogs. They'll bow, they'll paw at you, maybe even try to play bite. That's because, in many ways, dogs do interact with us as if we're fellow canines. We've basically been adopted into their pack, although I'm guessing you don't lick your friends' faces in greeting. Here's the interesting part. Research suggests that dogs are perfectly capable of recognizing humans as a different species. They know we smell different, sound different, move differently. But socially, we're family. And in dog society, family doesn't have to be the same species. They've evolved to communicate with us almost as well as they do with each other, sometimes even better. One of my favorite examples is play behavior. When two dogs play together, they'll do the play bow to say, "Hey, I'm just playing. Don't bite too hard." Dogs do the same thing with us. They're speaking their native body language, even though we're standing on two legs and holding coffee mugs instead of chew toys. My own golden retriever, Luna, does this every morning, except she tries to shove a slobbery tennis ball into my hand while I'm still half asleep. And yes, dogs do pick up on our human ways too. They've learned to read our facial expressions, something even wolves can't do well. That's why your dog might know you've had a bad day before you've said a single word. But when they comfort you, they often default to dog logic, leaning against you, licking your hand, maybe even sitting on your feet. It's their way of saying, "I'm here," the same way they'd reassure another dog. Let's talk about hierarchy for a second. In dog packs, there's usually a leader, but in human dog households, it's a little messier. Some dogs definitely treat their humans like the pack leaders, waiting for cues, following rules. Others treat us more like littermates, play bowing and wrestling. And then there's the royalty dynamic, where your dog clearly believes they are the one in charge. Looking at you, small dog owners. Here's a fun fact. Dogs don't just adapt their behavior to us, they sometimes teach us to play their way. Ever noticed your dog doing that little back and forth run before they pounce? That's called a predatory drift in play, and while it looks silly, it's actually rooted in their hunting instincts. They'll do it with humans, just like they do with other dogs, as if to say, "Come on, chase me. You know the rules." Scent is another big clue in how dogs see us. Dogs use smell to recognize each other, but they also use it with us. They know your scent so well that it's basically your dog name. When you come home after petting another dog, they can tell not only that you've been unfaithful, gasp, but also probably the other dog's approximate age, mood, and maybe what it had for breakfast. They might still greet you with excitement, but that sniffing session? That's a full-on background check. Now, here's where things get really fascinating. Some scientists think that dogs' brains process humans the same way they process dogs, at least emotionally. In MRI scans, the areas of the brain linked to bonding and affection light up the same way whether they're smelling a favorite human or a dog friend. So in your dog's heart, you might not be a big weird dog, but you're definitely one of them. But it's not all about instinct. Dogs learn a lot of their human interpretation through experience. If you're consistent with your words, gestures, and tone, they start to connect your behavior to theirs. For example, if you use a cheerful, "come here" tone every time you want to play, they might treat it like a canine play signal. It's cross-species communication at its finest, and it's the reason your dog might wag their tail the same way whether you're holding a treat or a squeaky toy. Personally, I think that's the magic of living with dogs. We're never going to fully understand each other's languages, but we've created this incredible middle ground where both species meet halfway. They've adapted to our world, walking on leashes, riding in cars, patiently waiting for dinner. And we've adapted to theirs, learning that the zoomies are not a medical emergency, and that sometimes it's okay to have dog hair in literally every corner of your house. So, do dogs think we're big weird dogs? Kind of. They know we're different, but they choose to treat us as if we're part of their doggy social circle. And honestly, that's the best compliment we could get. It means we've passed the sniff test, earned a spot in the pack, and been welcomed into their world. No fur coat required. All right, pack mates. That's it for today's dive into the doggy brain. I'd love to hear your stories. Does your dog treat you like a fellow canine, or more like the royal staff? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Pet Pals for more pet facts, behavior tips, and my ongoing attempt to convince Luna to stop stealing my socks. See you next time.